Welcome to the Legalpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Sager, founder and CEO of Legalpreneur Inc. As a serial entrepreneur and someone that works exclusively with small business owners legally protecting their business, I'm dedicated to covering common legal issues faced by business owners, providing you with the business knowledge you need to catapult your business's growth and showing you just how some of the world's most elite entrepreneurs have handled these legal and business issues themselves. In true attorney fashion, the information in this episode is not legal advice. This is for informational purposes only, and you should always consult with your attorney before implementing any of the information in the show. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Legalpreneur Podcast. Today, we are chatting about the 3 ways to get legal protection done. And this isn't like the 3 steps, like, oh, get this done, get this done, get this done. It's how you actually get it done. Now, I've talked about this a little bit before, like DIY versus done for you, but there's really 3 levels, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. But first, don't forget about Dream Bigger. In case you missed it, Legalpreneur Live is now Dream Bigger. We're talking all things business and personal growth. Tickets are actually not for sale right now. We had to put everything on a wait list because things were getting a little crazy. And on July 11th, we are having a humongous blowout sale. When I mean humongous, I mean like 70% off of your VIP ticket, plus like another added bonus. However, this offer will only be available to those on our text list. So text the word EVENT to 832-225-3164. Yes, 70% off of your VIP ticket. And there's another amazing thing in there, and you're gonna be like, what the heck? Have you gone crazy? No, I have not gone crazy, but text me. We will get you all the details. And seriously, nobody else is going to get this offer. You have to be on the text list. This will be available for 24 hours only on July 11th to get you a ticket to Dream Bigger. Still happening October 5th through the 7th in Phoenix, Arizona, covering all things business and personal growth. Okay, so the 3 ways to get legal protection done. And this is more of the how you're getting it done. And I always tell people, hey, there's 3 levels to this. So we're going to work our way up. And the more we work our way up, the more money you're going to be spending. Now, the 3 levels are DIY, do it yourself. Next level is working with a third party, such as Legalpreneur. Or level number 3, most expensive, working directly with an attorney. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just meeting yourself where you are. And that is getting it done how you feel most comfortable, you feel most aligned with. And like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just making the best decision for you. I tell people all day long, I'm like, look, I don't care if you work with Legalpreneur or you work with the Andrea Sager Law Firm, or if you do it yourself. Or anybody else. I don't care who you work with. I just want you to get it done. That's why we do all this free legal education, the podcast, TikTok, Instagram, like everything. All the education is free. Then if you want to work with us, that's where we make our money. So let's start at the bottom, DIY. This is doing it yourself. This is absolutely a viable option. And like Marie Forleo's book, Everything is Figureoutable. I love that quote. Even before she came out with her book, I always used to say that, like, hey, you can figure everything out on your own. And then once she said figureoutable, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so good. So I always use that. I'm like, hey, everything is figureoutable. I'm not going to say, hey, no, you absolutely should not DIY. You should not do it yourself. Or hey, absolutely do it yourself. It's just meeting yourself where you are. And if you are one of those people that has always DIY'd, hey, cool. But then there's a point where you want to graduate. I was a person that wanted to do everything myself, and there's still some things that I want to do myself as far as in the business, learning it, because I feel like, hey, I'm a CEO. I want to make sure that I'm doing all the roles in order to hand them off. Now, specifically getting into this legal stuff, the DIY, I like to say everything is figureoutable. Now, there are some things that I don't think you should do on your own. However, getting the protection done can absolutely be done on your own. However, this is for people that have more time than money and basically you have the time to spend to learn how to do it. LLC absolutely can get it done on your own. like finding contract templates and editing them yourself, like absolutely can be done. Filing for trademarks, copyrights, absolutely can be done. What I don't think should be done on your own is like litigation. If there's actually a lawsuit, I think you should have somebody represent you and fight for you. That's when I think you should hire an attorney. Funny enough, that's not something that I ever offer. I don't do litigation. A lot of attorneys that do the transactional side, which is like the protection side, we don't do litigation. It's just a whole nother ballgame. And not something that I personally want to do ever. I always tell people I'm quote unquote a lazy lawyer because I don't want to go into a courtroom. I don't want to get dressed up in a suit. Like, look at me. I have a sweater on because where I am, it's really cold, but underneath it's my workout clothes. So I love to work in my pajamas. I love to work in my workout clothes. I don't want to get dressed up in a suit. Like, don't get me wrong. I love dressing up, but I'd rather just work from home. Anyways, so doing it yourself, DIY, absolutely a viable option. Now, you save the most money. However, you may still have to spend money. There may be courses you want to take. Like if you're trying to figure out how to file your own trademark, we have our trademark course. Then if you file your LLC, there's actually filing fees you do have to pay. Same thing with the trademark or copyright. Most of the time, if you're filing paperwork, there is a fee you have to pay. So you can never get around that. I take that back. There are very limited circumstances. Like if you file an LLC, a lot of times they'll waive the fee if you're a veteran or something like that. Now, that's the DIY. Save the most money, but you spend the most time doing it. Again, no right or wrong answer. Next level is working with a third-party company. This is working with a legal resource company such as Legalpreneur, there's plenty of them out there, but there's no attorney-client relationship when you're doing this. You're just paying somebody to file something for you or get something done for you, but there's no attorney-client relationship. So, for example, Legalpreneur, we can get you the contract templates. We file your LLC for you. We have our trademark course. So it's really the resources and getting things done, just no attorney-client relationship. This is cheaper than working with an attorney, but you're spending money, so more than doing it yourself. This is a great option if you know exactly what you need done, but you just don't want to file it yourself. A lot of times, the difference between working with a third party versus working with an attorney is you may want to get specific legal advice from an attorney on exactly what to do. If you know exactly what you need done, that's when I think you should work with a third party instead of working with an attorney. Because the next level is the most expensive, getting that actual legal advice, that's working with an attorney. So that's where the biggest differentiator is with the third party versus the attorney, whether it's Andrea Sager Law or any other attorney. It's a matter of, hey, how much legal advice, how much specific advice do you need? If you don't need any, you're like, hey, I just want an LLC filed. I don't even need an attorney to file it for me, but I don't want to do it myself. You can pay the third-party company, such as Legalpreneur, to get it done for you. Now, and with Legalpreneur, we get the LLC filed, get your EIN number, operating agreement, everything you need to be legally operating and running. Now, working with an attorney gets to be a little pricier because you are getting that expertise, that specific legal advice. And sometimes, and this is the reason that I created Legalpreneur, the company, because people were coming to me paying for legal advice, things to be done by an attorney, but they didn't actually need my legal advice. They just needed things done and didn't know how to, there really wasn't a DIY option for them. So the biggest example I have for this is people would come to me to get a contract. People would come, they're like, oh, I'm creating this course. I need a course terms drafted, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So they would pay for a custom contract and I would take them through my process and be ready to draft this contract for them, but they didn't even know what they needed. And so at the end of the day, they were paying me for a custom contract, but they were using my template anyway. They weren't even getting the custom services out of it because they did not know what they needed. So that's when I decided, hey, let me just start selling these templates, especially for the newer business owners, because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they don't need. And so you start with a template contract and then graduate to a custom contract. I actually just stitched a video on TikTok earlier this week she did wedding makeup, and she was talking about how she went back and like changed her contracts and stuff. And I stitched it and I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what you should do as a business owner. Make sure you have a contract. You start with something, start with a template. And then like, yes, she probably lost out on some money, and a lot of business owners do, but you're learning your lesson. If you didn't go through that process, you would not know that your contracts need to be updated. You would not know how important those things were in your contracts. And this is why I think it's so important to go through the process. Like, because some people come to me and they're like, hey, tell me everything I need to know about this or that. I'm like, how much do you want to pay me? Like, how long do you have? And really, it's just like, hey, let's get started on this basic level. And then you can graduate to a custom contract. And so many business owners, they'll get started with their contracts. They'll keep going along in business. They'll be keeping notes as they're going along. Like, hey, I know I want to get this fixed in my contract, this fixed in my contract. And then eventually they pay for the custom contract and then get it all fixed. And then they're good to go. So don't be hard on yourself if you start on one level and then you know you need more work. So then you graduate to the next level. It's okay. Like, forgive yourself. Meet yourself where you are. Like right now, if you can't afford to work with an attorney, DIY or work with a third-party company. This is the resources. This is done for you without an attorney. That's Legalpreneur, the company. Of course, if you join the membership, we connect you with your attorney, and then it graduates to that working with an attorney level. But we still have the resources. So the membership is really a good like combo of both, like the third party and the attorney services. So the 3 levels, number 1, DIY, cheapest, third party companies, we get it done for you. There's just no attorney client relationship. And then the 3rd level, most costly, that's working directly with an attorney. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just meeting yourself where you are and making sure you get this legal stuff done. I can't tell you guys how many times I have heard from people like, oh, I should have just like got this template instead of like spending $1,000 on this custom contract. Like, first of all, most of the time it shouldn't cost $1,000 for a basic custom contract, especially if you're like a course creator. But it happens. I hear it. I know. But start with the template, especially if you're brand new in business, because you probably don't know what you need anyway. And our templates are great to get started. So if you need anything, let me know. Have any questions, let me know. I'm always happy to help. Make sure you're getting started on the right foot. I will see you guys next time. Make sure to text the word event to 832-225-3164 to get on the wait list for Dream Bigger, our conference happening in Phoenix, Arizona, October 5th through the 7th. All right, see you guys next time. Here at Legalpreneur, we're committed to providing a supportive legal community for all business owners. I know how scary the legal stuff can be. If you found this information helpful, I would be so grateful if you could share it with a fellow business owner. And quite frankly, it doesn't cost anything to rate, review, or subscribe to the show. Your support helps me reach more listeners, which allows me to support more business owners in their entrepreneurial journey. Have any questions or comments about the show? Feel free to drop me a line on Instagram. I promise I read all of the messages and comments. And if you want to be a guest on the show or know someone that would make a great guest, simply fill out our application form and a team member will reach out if we think it's a good fit. I'll see you in the next episode.